Cam Newton, Kyle Allen, Teddy Bridgewater, Taylor Heineke, Carson Wentz, and Sam Howell. Can you tell me what all these quarterbacks may have in common? All of them have thrown passes to the new wide receiver that the Buffalo Bills have signed this offseason, Curtis Samuel. We're going to feature him today on our first edition of our player analysis presented by GoBillsPodcast.com. We will talk about him and more today, right after we hit our intro. Welcome in, Bills Mafia. Welcome back to another edition of the Go Bills podcast presented by GoBillsPodcast.com. I am your host and founder of the page, Brett McDurphy. Glad to be with you on this Tuesday evening to discuss our first player analysis presented by GoBillsPodcast.com. If you're new to our channel, don't forget to like and subscribe. Follow us on all social media platforms. You can find us on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and Twitter, as well as Threads. You can also find us on our website, GoBillsPodcast.com, where you can click on over to the podcast, find all of our upcoming shows that we will be doing throughout the week. Now, that has not been updated yet, but it will be updated after this show. We are going to feature all of the shows that we will have this week. We have 3 days this week that we are going to do shows, as well as we will have shows on other channels such as Nickel City Mafia later in the week. That'll be Saturday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That we will be going live with the Red, White, and Roofless, as well as Sean Kula from the Red, White, and Bills. But click on over to our website where you can find all of our shows that we will be doing throughout the week. Today, we are going to be featuring our player analysis. Our first player that we're going to do is Curtis Samuel, who is coming over from the Washington Commanders. He was previously drafted by the Carolina Panthers, which is where the history report comes in for him. He was actually drafted by Brandon Beane when he was there with the the Carolina Panthers, and that's where the connection lies. Time for UFL football coming in, saying go Bills. Appreciate you for joining in. Saw you on the Nickel City Mafia channel as well. He is a big-time Battlehawks fan of the UFL, but unfortunately, they did lose last week, but I was pulling for them, especially A.J. McCarron, which didn't work out. But let's get into Curtis Samuel today. We're going to discuss him a lot in this feature segment. He's coming over from the Commanders, having a 3-year, $24 million contract that he signed with the Buffalo Bills that could turn into a 2-year, $16 million contract for the Buffalo Bills. As you can see, that third year of the contract that you see under the salary cap hit right in front of you is where the year can be voided, actually. So the Bills could have him for 2 years, $16 million on that contract, which is good numbers. If you look at what Buffalo signed him for, it was around the same as guys like Adam Thielen as well as Darnell Mooney money, which is actually numbers that I like. Now, Adam Thielen did have a 1,000-yard season a couple years ago, but I think that Curtis Samuel brings a lot of upkeep to him. He's younger, especially with the numbers that he has, 27 years old, 5'11", about 200 pounds, 195 pounds. You look at his receptions overall to targets, this is an area that you're going to say, oh my goodness, what's going on? He had 62 catches on 85 targets. But remember also that he played with quarterbacks that threw the ball out of bounds as well. So that counts as targets. On those targets, actually 4 of those targets were uncatchable balls that he had. That were drops that he had. So those are numbers that I absolutely love for him. 613 receiving yards as well as 4 touchdowns. And overall offensive snaps that he had 571 offensive snaps that he played, out of the 1,107 offensive snaps for the Commanders last season. So good numbers. Also has a 4.1 or 4.31 40-yard dash time, which is what John Robert is saying in the chat as well. I appreciate you guys for joining in. Red, White, and Bills coming in. Let's go. Absolutely, man. This has been a long time coming. We talked about it before. Apologize for being out of the game for a while. I did have a medical emergency a few months back. I will advocate it again. Make sure you wear your helmet, guys, because as you can see, I do have some stitches on my face, 75 stitches that happened before. But let's get into the show because that is the more important part. I'm not as important as our Buffalo Bills. We got to feature them as well. So what does Curtis Samuel bring to the table for the Buffalo Bills? We'll go over his pros first, and then we'll go over his cons. Pros for him, familiarity with the Bills coaching staff. He is very familiar with guys like Brandon Beane as well as Joe Brady, having his best season with Joe Brady in 2020, where he had 851 yards in that season. Underrated route runner, which is something that we're going to feature in some of the film that we will look at for him. Utilized in motions as well, which is an area that Buffalo had struggled with Ken Dorsey. They ranked 22nd in the NFL in motions under Ken Dorsey, 10th in the NFL under Joe Brady, which is something that he brought to the Buffalo Bills this season. And yes, John Robert coming in again saying Josh Allen is the best and quarterback that Curtis Samuel has had, which is exactly what we're going with in this category. Big yards after catch ability is something that he brings to the table. Another thing that you will see in the featured videos that we are going to show for him. Big play ability as well, making guys miss on tackles, which is another area that I absolutely love for him. He can be used as a gadget guy. You can plug and play him over the field, running back, wide receiver, playing the slot. You can play the perimeter game as well. He can go vertical on you. He has so many different aspects to him, as well as the route running ability that he has, where he can run 6 to 8 different routes on any given play. Contested catch ability, which is an area that I tried to feature in this film, but I was not able to feature it. Unfortunately, the video did not upload, but I do have a video of him, which I will create into a short after this show. And we will feature that contested catch that he has, which is an incredible catch that he had against the Minnesota Vikings a few years ago, where he had 4 guys on him and he ended up making the catch. Short area quickness, which is another area that we will talk about. Actually, I will get into it right now. What he brings to the Buffalo Bills is elite quickness, which is an area that we struggled with last season. On one of the reasons that he was brought in is because he has a 9.08 burst, which is the 3rd quickest in the NFL in terms of next-gen stats at 9.08 miles an hour, which is a significant upgrade over what we had last season with wide receivers such as Gabe Davis at 8.25 miles per hour in his burst, which ranked 29th in the NFL, as well as Stephon Diggs at 7.73 miles per hour. So a big upgrade for the Buffalo Bills there as well. Other areas that he improves the Buffalo Bills on is his separation. 3.33 yards per play is what he's going to have in terms of average separation in 2023. So that was tied for 13th in the NFL. So as you can see, he's going to get open. He's going to be a big focal point in the offense. And I think this is an area that I really like, is what he brings to the Buffalo Bills is an elite number 2 wide receiver that you're going to have. Now, you're going to say more than likely Keon Coleman's going to be that number 1 wide receiver, and I totally agree with that. I think he's going to get the field quite a bit this season, but don't keep your expectations on him to get over 1,000 yards or 1,200 yards or 1,400 yards like a lot of sites are doing. You got to limit the expectations because we have such high expectations on a rookie, and rookies go through this weird roller coaster where they have different areas that they strive in, where they go through points of greatness and they go through points of just struggling, and it's a tough game. You got to understand that they're learning the playbook, they're learning coverages, they're learning cadences with the offense. So you might see games where Coleman struggles, and that very well could happen. And we have guys like Chase Claypool that John Robert points out, as well as Marquez Valdez-Scantling that we're going to see as well. And you have Curtis Samuel, Khalil Shakir as well, who we will talk about later in the show in terms of the updates that we do have for the Buffalo Bills after minicamp today. So we will talk about him as well. These are players that are going to take different plays away from him, as well as Dalton Kincaid, Dawson Knox, and you got to include the running backs as well that are going to be featured a little bit this season, and you got to feature Quentin Morris. So this offense is going to be elite all over the boards, but I think that Curtis Samuel is going to see the field quite often this season. He's going to be our gadget play type guy that's going to remind me a lot of what Cole Beasley, as well as Isaiah McKenzie, who Isaiah McKenzie didn't have the, I would say, the ability to get to the level of where I think Curtis Samuel can get. I think Curtis Samuel has a little bit higher of a ceiling for him as well. In terms of cons, injury report comes up for me as one of the cons for him. I'm going to use some of what Banged Up Bills said about Curtis Samuel in terms of what injuries he's had. Let's go back to his first season in the NFL in 2017. Had a hamstring injury in the preseason. Didn't miss any time. He started the year with the hamstring injury, 0 games missed. He also had a back injury in week 3, missed 1 game because of that. Right ankle injury, missed practice for 1 game. And then he had a left ankle fracture in week 10, missing 7 games that year. Then it comes to 2018, ankle injury activated off of the PUP list during training camp. So that's what happened with him, 0 games missed. Irregular heartbeat in the preseason, which required surgery to correct. Missed 3 games after that. Hamstring injury in week 12 again. So hamstring injuries is a trend that you're seeing with him, as well as ankle injuries. In week 12, missed 0 games. 2019, shoulder injury in week 8, missed 0 games. Hamstring injury in week 10. So another hamstring injury, 0 games missed. Knee injury in week 16, missed 0 games. So he has a little bit of a injury history while also missing some games. Overall in his career, he missed 21 games, but the hamstring injuries are what keeps going on the list. Every single year, 2020 included, hamstring injury again, knee injury, missing 1 game in week 6 in 2020, as well as having another hamstring injury week 14 of the 2020 season. He did have a groin tear where he missed 7 total games in 2021. Hamstring injury again in 2021 where he missed 4 games because of that. 2022, having a few injuries there as well. Hip injury in 2023, as well as quadriceps, foot, toe, hamstring again in 2023. So that injury analysis to me worries me about some of the injuries that he's had is the hamstring issues as well as ankle issues kind of worry me as well. So soft tissue is what kind of worries me about him. I did say 21 games that he missed, 23 games over a 7-year period, 11 of those coming in the 2021 season. So that worries me a little bit with him as well. Other cons for Curtis Samuel are his perimeter threat ability on the outside, kind of limited there, as well as limited size at 5'11". He's been utilized quite a bit in the slot role, which is where Khalil Shakir has been for the Buffalo Bills. But I think that they're going to move Shakir to the outside a little bit more in 2024. But we'll see. He did have his lowest number of outside snaps under Joe Brady at 21% of his snaps in 2020. And he's very limited in man coverage, which is areas that really concern me for Curtis Samuel. But let's get into some of the videos that we do have. I'm going to take this video out of, or the presentation out of here. As we go through these videos, I'm going to tune in, but I do have to take myself out of here just to be able to show you the videos as well. So the first video that we're going to see is going to be the video of Curtis Samuel being utilized in motion, which is where I think that the Bills are going to love having him. He's going to be that gadget type guy that's going to be moved around in motion plays before the snap. So let me show you that video real quick. As you can see, Curtis Samuel being utilized in on a play where they're trying to disguise the coverage with the running back, trying to fake the snap to him, and then you see Curtis Samuel come in the motion, scoring the touchdown against the Houston Texans there. Let's show the second play here, which is going to be Curtis Samuel being utilized as a running back, which is where I think he's going to bring a different aspect to this offense and just big playability. So we'll show two plays where he's going to be utilized as a running back. First play doesn't really excite me, and I know Sean Kula of the Red, White, and Bills is not going to be too excited with this play, but you just see the ability of what Curtis Samuel can do. So let me show you the second one. As you can see on that second play, just a handoff to Curtis Samuel, but you saw the ability to get 7-8 yards on that play, which is something that I absolutely love from him. Let's show you the third play, which is another one that I think that you guys are gonna love. This is a play where Curtis Samuel makes guys miss, and missed tackles is always a good category for the Buffalo Bills. And this is where I think you guys are gonna fall in love with him. As you can see, two guys missed tackles on that play. Should have ended up being about a second and maybe 2 or 3 yards. But as you can see, Curtis Samuel making guys miss. And that's one of the areas that I absolutely love from him. He's being utilized on those plays. You saw him drag a defender 10 yards down the field, which is something that I love as well. And as you can see, Red, White, and Bill saying, just hope he can stay healthy. Absolutely. If he can stay healthy and be on the field, I mean, easily 1,000 yards could happen for him. So that's where I stand on it. Let's go with another video here. I'm going to show you the third video, which is the ability to have yards after the catch. And then the fifth video that we will see is going to be him moving the sticks, which is where I think he's going to be utilized a lot with Josh Allen. So now we're going to move into the wide receiver side of things, where he will line up as well. So we'll show you this video. As you can see, yards after the catch ability coming in play, just getting down the field, getting open. As you can see, that separation that you're seeing with Curtis Samuel and the ability to get open in zone coverage is where I absolutely love him as well. Let's show you the fifth video here, which is him moving the sticks down the field, which is an area that's going to have to be utilized quite a bit more, and finding that guy that Josh Allen's going to be able to be confident in moving the sticks down the field on third downs, which is an area that Buffalo was really good at the past couple of seasons. So let's show you this video of Curtis Samuel moving the sticks on. So I apologize. That video did show you. I did have them mixed up. I apologize. So the video previously, before that one, was the one where he moved the sticks. That one was the video where he did not get the first down, so it ended up causing a third and short. So I do apologize about that video. It wasn't the moving sticks one, so I do apologize about that. And it was second down on that video, so they did not get the first down. But as you can see, just the ability for him to get open as well and make plays and be somebody that a quarterback can trust. Now, why I love the signing of Curtis Samuel is because this allows Buffalo to have a guy that can come in here and just be the guy that moves the sticks down the field for Buffalo. It reminds me a little bit of what Khalil Shakir does, but I think that he's going to take this offense to a new level where you're going to see vertical threats for Josh Allen again, where he's kind of missed that the past couple of seasons with Gabe Davis. You saw last year in Gabe Davis, and this is who I think that he's going to replace the role of more. Games where Gabe Davis had 1, 2 catches, and you saw games where he had 6, 7, 8 catches, but you also saw games where he had 0 catches. And I think that just the consistency of what you're going to see for Curtis Samuel is going to play into effect this season, especially, and that's going to be where Josh Allen's going to love him. And I can see easily 5, 7 catches a game, each game. I could easily see him breaking his career high in terms of yards, which is where I think he's actually going to do that. And we could easily see 1,000 yards this season for Curtis Samuel. It just has to do with some of the pros and cons that we talked about in terms of just the ability to stay healthy. If he can do that, not have any issues with hamstring injuries as well as foot injuries, that's great. One thing I will say this is when it comes to playing for the Commanders, especially, and the Carolina Panthers, those are 2 of the worst fields that you can possibly play on in the NFL. And we've seen a lot of injuries happen with the Washington Commanders. So some of the worst injuries that we've seen in the league have happened there. So it's just going to have to happen where Buffalo's got some injuries this season, but I think that they have one of the best training staffs in the NFL and one of the best training facilities in the NFL with the ability for him to stay healthy and work around some elite athletic trainers. It should keep him a little bit more healthy this season. So I could easily see 1,000 yards for Curtis Samuel this season, and that's where I stand on it. But he will be reunited with Joe Brady this season, and you could easily see another career high and probably a career high in rushing attempts this season. In 2020, he did have 200 rushing yards on 41 carries with Joe Brady as a offensive coordinator, and you could easily see that going up again this season. So it'll be interesting to see where he does lie on in terms of yards and everything, but always give your predictions on where you think that he will land as well. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow us on all social media platforms. You can find us on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and Twitter, as well as Threads. You can also find us on our website, GoBillsPodcast.com. Click on over to the website, and you can find all of our upcoming shows as well. Actually, before I let you guys go, I apologize. I did not get into the what has happened with the Buffalo Bills this week in terms of today as well. So I do want to get into the latest updates on the Buffalo Bills, and this is where we stand today for the team. Matt Milano has returned to practice today on a limited basis. He is coming back from a broken fibula, so he is back on the field. Khalil Shakir has a lower body injury. He left practice early and did not return to practice, so it'll be interesting to see what that injury could be. From Sean McDermott, he did say that linebackers Dorian Williams, Eddie Olofashio, I'm going to probably say that wrong and apologize about it, Nicholas Morrow, as well as Balin Spector are all did not practice, as well as running back Ray Davis, Ty Johnson, and fullback Reggie Gillum all did not practice today. Linebacker Matt Milano, safety Micah Edwards, as well as offensive tackle Spencer Brown are limited in practice today. The only player that did not practice today and was not present is cornerback Christian Benford, who's dealing with a personal matter and was not at the facility today. Teams will be back on the practice field Wednesday for another mandatory minicamp, and we will have an update on Thursday as to what has happened on Wednesday and Thursday at minicamp. We'll see you next time for another edition of the Go Bills podcast. Until then, go Bills.